Hey, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, man. I hope everyone is doing well tonight. I hope you guys had a great Tuesday. I hope you guys are not listening to the news saying you guys can go out because we are not ready. I keep telling you guys that. I'm going to tell you guys that every day. But, but no, seriously, I hope you guys are really staying safe. And tonight, special guest, Nichole DePaul. You guys don't know her. I don't think I've ran across her. I don't think. If I did, I'm sorry. Please don't beat me up. But she reached out and was like, or I reached out to her. Yeah, either way, I got her on the show. She's I'm sure she has a lot of information and she has a great story for us. So, I'm gonna go ahead and bring our guest to the Bowtie show. Bring her to the screen, Miss Nichole DePaul. Hey.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Enjoying the beautiful sunshine here in Fayette, Iowa.
Fayette, Iowa.
Yes, sir.
Never heard of it.
Not many people know where it's at.
No. And I'm one of those guys. So
no, it's okay.
Well, like I said, at least you have great weather right now, right?
We do. Yesterday it was a little chilly. We've been going between 60 degrees and 32 degrees and 70 degrees and 23 degrees and freezing rain and regular rain, back and forth. Right now it's sunny and gorgeous outside.
Oh yeah. See, I don't know about the rain. We barely get rain here in Southern Cal, but you know how that is.
You get a lot of sunshine and you have the beach, so you don't need the rain.
No, man, yes. And I don't go to the beach here, though. That's the funny thing. I could care less about the beach.
Oh, that's usually when we're out there for a tour stop, and if we're there in May or June time period, I try to make a trip out to the beach so I can at least see the ocean for a day. At least one day.
Like I said, being here in California, it has its perks. We can go to the beach, we can go to the snow, we can go to the mountains, we can do it all. So it's a pretty amazing place, and that's probably why we pay the price that we pay.
Yes, yeah, it is a little pricey out there, especially in Southern California.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. Right. So I've been enjoying this weather and getting out and doing things. I miss bowling right now, that's for sure.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about yourself, because the questions are going to come.
Sure. So I am a head coach for Upper Iowa University here in Fayette. It's the reason why I'm here. I'm a coach for the men's and the women's bowling team. I have been a touring pro for the last 5 years. Well, we're in 2020, so I had to think about the math. 5 years when the tour came back in 2015. I had to think about it. I'm on staff with DV8 and Logo Infusion and Vice and Mongoose. So I get an opportunity to work with those 4 brands and help support what we do on the tour. And then when I'm not bowling or being a coach, I'm usually on the golf course or traveling back to Illinois to go see my mom and dad and my niece and my sister, and just enjoying life, I guess you could say.
There you go. Well, like I said, we're going to start off. Hey, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Joliet, Illinois, and raised in New Lenox, Illinois. So New Lenox is about 7 miles east of Joliet.
Okay. Any siblings?
Younger sister, her name's Tina.
Does she bowl?
So we started off bowling together when we were little kids, and my mom and dad wanted us to continue doing the sport, and she stopped liking it. I don't know if it's because I was beating her all the time or if it's because she wanted to do something different. So she went in to play softball, and then I continued on bowling through all the junior youth days and then into college, and then now as a touring pro.
All right. So, how was your childhood growing up? Did you have it easy breezy?
My mom and dad have been the most supportive parents I could ever have as a child, as an adult. They've instilled the love of the sport in me and really allowed me to blossom in it. And they provided everything we needed for my sister and I. If I wanted to go bowl a tournament, my dad would get in the car and drive me to the tournament. If I wanted a new bowling ball, they got it for me. So my mom and dad been married almost 50 years, and they still try to watch tour stops. Yeah, I know, almost 50 years, right? That's a long time. Anytime I'm on a live stream for the women's tour, typically I'll have my phone off to the side and let my mom and dad know I'm going to be on a live stream, and they'll watch the live stream while I'm bowling. And I usually get messages, especially from my dad, wow, that's a great pocket shot, or oh, I can't believe you left a 10 pin, or some other thing with him. And then and sometimes my sister will watch too when I'm on the tour, whether it's with my niece sitting there. I'm trying to convince her to get me to get her on the lanes. She's a little young. She's 2 years old. So yeah, I had a great childhood growing up. My mom and dad are amazing people. I try to spend time with them when I can, when I'm not on the road.
That's what's up. Hey, Tabitha Thomas asks, at what age did you start bowling, and who influenced you to start?
So I started when I was in the womb. My mom and dad were bowlers, and they went and bowled leagues all the time. And when I was born, from what I can remember on the stories, they would take me to the bowling center. And when I was about 2 years old is when I really started getting more wanting to go take me to the bowling center or let me roll a bowling ball down. And when I turned 4.5, 5 years old, my dad and mom signed me up for the YABA leagues in the bowling center where I grew up in New Lenox, and kept doing it. So I'm 44, so I've been doing it for a really long time. And then in terms of who influenced me, gosh, now I could break it down into pros and give you that. I loved watching Carolyn Doran Ballard when she was a pro, and to get an opportunity to cross with her at multiple tournaments on tour has been amazing. Tish Johnson is someone else who's been a big influence for me on the women's side. On the men's side, Parker Bone III, Walter Ray Williams Jr., Emiletta Monticelli. They've all been professionals I've looked up to want to continue on doing the sport I love. And then, of course, my mom and dad, because they were taking me to the bowling centers all the time to practice.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool there. There you go.
Big bowling family.
Yeah. Maurice Moore asks, how long have you been drilling your own equipment, and tell your husband hello?
Oh, gosh. Hi. How are you, Maurice? It's nice to hear from you. I've been drilling my own equipment now for I think it's been about 6.5 years now. I've been doing my own stuff. I was taught by Mike Austin in Houston. I was living in Houston area for about 8 years, and I had taken a step away from the industry for a while, was an educator for a long time. And one day I walked into a bowling center and went, I need to get back into the sport again full time. And he refit my hand, and we talked, and I said, hey, do you have a job, or could I come work for you? And he trained me on everything for spans, pitches, fitting, talk about layouts, all those things. And so now I do my own stuff on a regular basis. Anytime I get my staff equipment, I'm choosing my own layouts. And I also drill my team's equipment as well. I analyze their games and figure out what they need for their arsenals and drill out everything they need for their stuff too. Oh,
well, there you go.
Yeah.
Let's see. What other sports did you play growing up? What made you choose the bowling career?
So I also played tennis, and I played tennis in high school and part of my college years. And bowling always seemed to be my first love. I chose bowling because I knew I could continue doing it until I got older, and there were more opportunities for me to be able to bowl. On the plus side, because I was getting a college degree, I felt in some way or another I could work in the bowling industry one day, and I ended up doing that for about 6 years too. So that's why I chose bowling.
So where did you go to college?
I went to a junior college for a couple of years and got the general classes, if you will. And then I went to Illinois State University in Normal, Illinois. They used to have a fantastic bowling program back in the late 80s, early 90s through when I was there at ISU. And I got a degree in chemistry. So yeah, so I spent a couple of years doing that stuff and doing collegiate bowling there.
There you go.
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. A lot of traveling, a lot of weekends away from home.
Really?
Yes.
How did you manage that?
Carefully. Carefully. Tried to stay out of trouble. I mean, I tried. I did a good job.
I would say if you're right here right now, you've done a great job.
Thank you. I've tried.
So you said, like I said, you were a full-time member. Who are your travel partners when you're out on tour?
You know what? It's amazing how we as a women's tour will meet up with different ladies throughout the touring season. I've traveled with Dasha Kovalova, our current reigning Queens champion, and Birgit Poplar from Germany when she comes out from Germany to do the tour. Valerie Bercier, who is our player rookie of the year. Because her husband was part of our tour repping entourage. Every once in a great while, we would all be together. Sometimes I would travel by myself because I would have to come back to go to work and I'd have to fly in and fly out. Or sometimes I would drive. Last year I did the entire Midwest swing. I drove the entire thing, which was fun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and if we were having tour this season, the plan was for me to drive the entire tour. I wanted to be able to see all the West Coast and some of the areas I've never been, and then meet up with friends and family throughout the swings so I could say hello and interact. I wanted to do some youth clinics at different bowling centers, do a little bit of recruiting while I was in different parts of the United States. So,
right.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Another question from Godfrey Wilson III. What would you say is the biggest difference between coaching women and coaching men?
So from my experience, and I can't speak for all college coaches who are out there who have both men's and women's. My differences in coaching style is both the psychological, emotional side and then the technical side. With my women's team, it is more emotional, where they're so invested in it emotionally. I have to be able to get them to almost pull away from the emotional aspect, because we women, we can get very emotional on the lanes. I do a lot. I mean, I scream at the pins. We all do. On the men, I have to talk more at a technical point of view, because a lot of them want to know the hows and the whys and are not as emotionally invested in it. So I have to make sure to, when they ask me a question, not be emotional about it, because I am extremely expressive, and really get it to a level where they understand what I'm trying to convey to them without getting too emotional with it. Yeah, they're night and day differences. It can be a challenge, and then it can be fun. It all depends on the type of environment we're in when we're in a tournament competition, especially if we're trying to throw a strike, or we need a spare, or we need something to win the match.
Yeah. What has been, like I said, coaching men and women? How do you hit that switch and like, okay, I just finished coaching these women, we just finished practicing, now I got to go deal with these guys, or vice versa? Like, is there a switch that you have to hit, or you just walk in like, they already know what to say? Yeah.
No, I do. So I do have a switch when I'm going from a men's practice to a women's practice, or a women's practice to a men's practice. What I do is I take a step away for a few minutes to regroup, to get myself in the mindset of, okay, I finished with the men. We were really technical. We were really getting into the nitty gritty portions of bowling balls and all of the physics and the math, and now I need to switch it up a little bit with the women. And the women will see more of my laughter, crazy, bubbly type of personality. So then I've got to turn that on. And then vice versa, when I'm done with the women, then I need to, calm myself down, take a deep breath, and go into it with the men and really get into the technical side with them. So I have a switch. I don't normally show it in front of people, but it is there.
That, like, are you the only one that that coaches men and women as far as bowling teams and collegiate?
No, there's a lot of universities who have both teams where there's one head coach coaching both, and then they've got assistant coaches, or they have graduate assistant coaches. It purely depends on the size of the program, if like in my case, because I'm an NCAA coach with the women's team, I have my assistant who travel with the men's team if there's a tournament going on the same weekend as the women.
Right.
Other times they could have a head coach for the men and a head coach for the women, and everybody works together. I think I can't get an estimated number. I would say more than half of the collegiate programs have a head coach, one head coach for both teams.
Okay. Now, how did you even begin to coach? Who inspired you or motivated you to get into coaching?
The $1 million question. I had been an educator for, I would say the turning point was probably in 2011 or 2012. I had been doing some research as an educator, and one of my kids in my chemistry classroom asked me a question about bowling balls. And so it got me into this discussion about how bowling balls were made and the physics behind it. And then it dawned on me, I wanted to do a little research about college, because then they had mentioned, well, how many colleges have bowling now? When I was growing up, there wasn't a lot of colleges. There was, I think, about 60 or 70 programs. And so I had looked up information and seen, well, there's NCAA bowling now for women. I didn't even know that existed until 2011, 2012. And I had the head coach for Sam Houston State University, Brad Hagan, asked me to come help out at his NCAA tournament in Houston at Emerald Bowl, and be one of the officials. And the minute I did it, it was, I want to be a part of this. I want to go out and influence young ladies in this sport. I want to let them know how much bowling has impacted my life in a positive way. And what better way for me to do it than to get into coaching full time and give back to the sport, which has given me so much in the last 40 years of my life. And so, Brad, by having Brad bring me into his NCAA tournament, it really showed me what collegiate bowling was truly all about. And ever since then, I searched high and low to see if I could find a program or a university willing to give me a shot and give me this opportunity to take a team or two teams into a potential championship. And so Upper Iowa handed me the keys, if you will. They believe in me. They support me 100%. And I have created an environment where I've got some of the greatest young men and women coming here to do some great things on the lanes, and then also do great things in the classroom and get their degrees at the same time.
Right. All right. There you go.
Sorry, that was a lot.
My brother was in here bothering me. Right. Now, with you doing that, how do you go ahead and recruit for, because you have these programs that's, pretty big.
Sure.
And I don't know how big your program is, but how do you go out and try to recruit against these best, schools out there as far as bowling wise?
There are ways to do it where you want to find the young men and women who are as motivated and passionate about the sport as I am. And so I do my recruiting all year round. And what I like to do is do some recruiting when I go to a tour stop. What best way to meet young men and women participate in Pro-Am? And so getting the opportunity to interact with them and then say, hey, guess what? I'm a college coach on the side, or talk to them after I'm done, is really helped with my recruiting. Being able to have connections in the industry. Chuck Gardner, for example, Bowl for Life. Chuck is my tour rep on the women's tour, and to talk to him about different youth bowlers who are coming up into high school bowling and looking for a college or a university. And Chuck knows what I'm looking for personalities. I want those kids who have the same passion. Right. And getting them here to Fayette, Iowa. I mean, that's a difficult task within itself to bring them to Fayette, Iowa.
Oh yeah.
For the women's team, we're gonna have 10 ladies coming into the upcoming season, and then for the men's team, we're gonna have about 20 to 22 men.
Wow. Why
Yeah.
why the big difference?
So with the women being NCAA, we have the varsity level only tournaments, and so we are allowed to bring up to 8 to 10 women on our roster for NCAA. With USBC on the men's side, I can have a varsity team and a junior varsity team at a tournament. So I want to have a bigger roster size on the men's side, so I can give them more opportunities to bowl over the weekends.
Wait. So you said the men's side is USBC, but the women is NCAA?
For my school, yes. Men's bowling is not an NCAA sport yet. Maybe in a few years they may consider doing it. There hasn't been any talk yet of elevating the men up to NCAA status. With the women, we have the NCAA, we have USBC, and then we also have NAIA, which is both sides too. There's so many different ABC entities in bowling.
Hey, Stephanie Zabalit said, thank you for everything you did for her when she was at Sam Houston.
Yeah, she was. I got to meet her when she was a freshman, and a little rough around the edges. She knows this. And at her 4 years at Sam Houston, she blossomed, and she's a fantastic bowler, a fantastic ambassador to the sport. She just got on staff with Global, and I think
that's my 900 Global sister.
Yes. And she's drilling bowling balls too. Yay!
Yes, she is.
I'm so excited for her to do that. And usually I see her at Lucy. I'm hoping Lucy goes in July. I'll get a chance to give her a hug and say hello.
Yes. And hopefully, like I said, she's supposed to be going on tour. So if you guys are out there together, just take her up under your wing and kind of guide her a little bit.
She'll kick my butt. She's good. She's good.
Yeah, that is so funny. With you drilling your own bowling balls, and like you said, you just mentioned Stephanie drilling her own bowling balls. How important do you think it is for women now to get out there and start drilling their own stuff as opposed to, relying on a guy?
If you look at the dynamics of college bowling specifically, and you look at how many women are coaches, I think we have a lot of women coaching women's teams for collegiate bowling. And I think we women need to step up and start learning bowling balls and learning how to drill bowling balls and learning how to lay out bowling balls and learning how to check spans and pitches. Because we women then can connect to these youth bowlers who want to potentially bowl college, and we can get them started. I love it when I have little girls, when they're coming into the pro shop I used to work at, and they see me and I'm drilling a bowling ball, and they're like, wow, that's really cool. Or they ask you questions, and I want to see more and more women coming in, because these women are the ones who are going to come out on tour and keep our tour going for years to come. And my gosh, some of the talent coming out of college to bowl the women's tour. Wow. Oh my gosh. We have some impressive collegiate players. Jordan Richard, a great example from Arkansas State. Mm-hmm. She plowed over fields her first year out. She was rookie of the year. We have a bunch of players who have graduated college. Another example, Brianna Clemmer from McKendree. She graduated, so if the tour happens, I know she's going to go out there, and she's Team USA member, Player of the Year for collegiate bowling. I mean, national champion. The talent coming out of college, if we can push these girls into it, and they're getting an education and bowling at the same time and come out on tour, wow. I'm scared.
Look at
me. I'm scared.
They telling you, hey, you had your time. It's kind of, take the side cover.
I love when I get a chance to get paired up with some of the younger players, because then I'm watching them bowl and I'm talking to them and I'm asking them questions and I'm interacting with them and figuring out their knowledge level of bowling balls and layouts and all those things. And then I'm talking to them about this stuff. And so it's nice to see them out there on the road with us.
Right. It's okay. So being on tour, how do you, you bowled on tour. Mm-hmm. And now that you're coaching college, how do you, I know your players ask, what does it take to be out there? Like, what can you explain, or how can you explain that to them?
When you are a touring pro, you have to learn how to respect the lonely times, because on the road it can be lonely. And I always tell them you need to figure out a way to work through your mental game to be successful on and off the lanes. It's a lot of long hours, so you need to be able to have the physical strength to maintain bowling 16 games in a day. Make sure you know your sleeping schedule. Make sure you know what types of food will keep you fueled throughout the entire time, whether it's in the car driving 16 hours or you're on the lanes for 16 hours. It's a grueling, demanding weekend of bowling, and
Right.
getting them ready for that is what I want to do. Is that a lot of them will go, oh, well, it's so easy. I'm like, no. No.
They only, and they probably believe it's easy because they see, the outskirts. They don't really know what it takes to be on the inside,
Yes.
Day in and day out.
What I always tell them to do is, if you ever have a chance and you're near a tour stop, go and see it. Watch it. Be there in front of the entire process, from the time we have official practice on Thursday through the Pro-Am, and then Friday, Saturday through qualifying, and then the TV show. You truly want to see what we are all about. Be there the entire time, because I guarantee you're going to see the highs, you're going to see the lows, you're going to see the tears. You might see some of us angry. I've yet to see any of us throw anything out on the road. Although if we have, maybe it's in a different room. I'm not sure.
Right.
The friendships we form, being able to bowl with your idols. There's all these great things about it, and I want the ladies to see all of it. I don't want them to see what they see on TV. That's the thing, is they always see the TV show. There's so much more to what we do than being on a TV show.
There you go. Chris Williams said he'd been meaning to get with you about layouts. What are your favorites?
Oh, lately I've been going out of the box on my layouts. I usually have 2 to 3 favorites. I have 2 favorites for my asymmetricals, and then I have 1 favorite for my symmetricals. Lately, thinking long term, I've made some changes to my physical game. I've increased my rev rate slightly, so I'm more equally matched with my rev rate and my ball speed. I've started to create some interesting layouts for my stuff, which has worked really well for me on tournament patterns. And so most of my asym typical layouts are 45 by 4.5 by 30, give or take. And then my symmetricals are usually 60 by 4 by 40, give or take. I stay away from pin down asymmetricals. They don't work for my physical game. So what I do is either one of 2 things. I either adjust the pin distance anywhere between 4.5 to about 5.5, or I change my val angle to make it flip quicker off the spot on my asyms. And then my symmetricals, I rarely do anything to change it, because my physical game is so much more asymmetricals than they are symmetricals.
And it's so weird hearing you say that, because, well, not weird, but it's like, in order to be successful, and you knowing what your ball does, and you knowing how to drill and what the numbers mean, should elevate your game as you're out there, correct?
You would think. You would think. When I think about the last few years being out on the tour, I struggled a lot with my mental game. And when you're out on the road and you're by yourself a lot, your bad things happening on the lanes affect you as a person. And so going into the 2020 season, I had some great advice from my tour reps. I really took it to heart, and I worked really hard, and I got my mental game all figured out. My physical game was spot on, my consistency, my accuracy, all that. And then this happened with us having to be postponed. So, knowing my layouts, knowing what my bowling balls do, knowing what the patterns will do in front of me has really given me, it potentially could give me an advantage if I could only stay consistent. That's the key, consistency.
Okay. Wanda Parker asks, what do you think can be done to help the sponsorships and prize funds grow for the women's tour toward equaling the men's?
I think what would happen is to get sponsorships from companies ran by women who appreciate women's sports. I see on the men's tour, we have a lot of sponsorship deals from men type companies. A great example, Barbazol, right?
Right.
They were huge with sponsoring the Tournament of Champions and some of the other events that we had for the men's tour. It'd be great to see companies representing women help to elevate the women's tour to the next level. It would be great to see a lot of them step in. It's awesome. We have Pepsi, we have Smithfield, Nationwide. We have all these great sponsorships, and it would be wonderful to also see some of the companies run by women coming on board to really push it to the women.
That is good. That's great information right there.
I just thought of it right now. So.
No, seriously. And like I said, you don't really think of it. Yes, the men have, a bigger prize fund, but you really don't know why. But like you said, the sponsorships plays a huge part in it.
Huge factor. I think also too, I love how our tour travels around the country. I love how our schedule is set up. I appreciate how they've chunked it up into sections of the United States where we're doing 3 tournaments before a major, and being able to do the travel where like the last couple of years, they've chunked it up with the West Coast swing, the Midwest swing, and then the East Coast swing. It means somebody like me who's sitting in the Midwest, I may not want to travel to the East Coast. So I can have accessibility to a Midwest tournament not far from me, or someone on the West Coast. There's so many opportunities for West Coast bowling for the women to travel to Sacramento is easy to do, or travel to, we were going to Spokane, Washington this year, going up to Spokane. So I think the way they've put this together for us, and we're traveling 4 weeks and then we have a week off, and then 4 weeks we have a week off, is awesome. I love it. Them also bringing out the regionals. I bowled the Iowa regional in March, and when I saw the regional schedule and they had said they were bringing a regional to Iowa, I started typing and sending out messages to my friends within a 6-hour drive of where the tournament was at, because this was giving them a chance to come bowl a PWBA stop, right, without having to be like what we do. Typically we travel on a Wednesday night, Thursday morning, we have official practice Thursday afternoon, we have a pro-am Thursday night, and then we have qualifying all day Friday. For people who have to work Monday through Friday, going to a regional on Sunday makes sense. And then the women get a chance to bowl tournaments where they may not normally get to do because we're on the road for the entire summer.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
Tabitha asks, what steps did you take to increase your rev rate?
Oh, a lot of drills. I did 1-step drills, 3-step drills. I changed my position of where I held my bowling ball, changing how I got around the ball. Trying to think of what else. I can't think of everything. The big one was learning hand position to get around it, to flick your wrist differently to increase the rate I'm trying to get around it. I think that's been the biggest thing. My problem has been I have a slightly higher ball speed, and so I struggled with getting my rev rate to match better with my arsenal and my equipment I had, and so doing all of the trills is what made me do it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Great question.
Hey, there you go. How long have you been? I don't know if you may have answered this, and I probably missed it. But how long have you been coaching at UIU?
So this upcoming season will be my 3rd year at Upper Iowa. My first year I recruited. This year was my first full year with the team. So I'll go into, I guess, officially my 2nd year of coaching collegiate, and then my 3rd year at Upper Iowa.
Okay. What kind of success have you guys had there?
Surprisingly, we had a lot of people talking behind my back. Let me tell you. saying, your first year program, you're not going to make a lot of stride. Your teams aren't going to be as successful. And we had some decent runs for both teams. My men's team took third place at a tournament. They beat McKendree twice. Thank you very much. Yes, we did. My women's team, we've even though we were not in the ranking for the NCAA polls, we've gotten awfully close to get into the D2, D3 poll. We're a first-year program. I was hoping we would get up in there. We will next year. I'm confident with the direction of where this team's going. We're going to make it into the top 15 of the D2, D3 poll. The men also got really close to getting into postseason play. We were only off by a few points. It was all a matter of how well we did at one tournament or another tournament. And the women, unfortunately, our conference tournament was canceled before we could go into the tournament. We were seeded number 6, and the bracket was interesting. I think we could have had a chance to make it decently through the conference play. So we did really well. We have a couple of our members getting academic All-American this year, which sometimes is unheard of in a first-year program.
Right.
One of my ladies was nominated for Freshman of the Year for the women's conference. She didn't get the award, but the fact she was nominated is pretty cool.
Absolutely.
And so we starting off as a good program. We're only going to get better.
Hey, there you go. That's a winner there.
Thank you.
Let's see. What are some of let's get off of your college. Let's talk about you. What are some of your biggest bowling accomplishments, and what is your most memorable moment on the lane?
Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm gonna go back in time, way back in time. So I was living in Wisconsin and working for what is now USBC when they were in a suburb of Milwaukee. And Wisconsin has a Badger Queens tournament. And if you win the tournament, you get an entry into USBC Queens. And I ran the stepladder in this tournament and then bowled against Robin Crawford Orlikowski. And it was down to the wire, and I left a stone 9 pin to lose the title match. Stone 9.
Oof.
2002, I think it was 2002. I'd have to go back and look at my memory. And so getting second place in the tournament with that much prestige, knowing I had a shot at winning the title, was really, really amazing. And then my other memorable one was placing second in a runner-up finish in the PWBA Joe Diamond Cherry Lanes Dubuque regional a couple of years ago. Jody Golick ended up winning the tournament. I was leading the tournament for a while, and I threw a couple of bad games, and she went around me in the field and ended up winning the whole thing. And she did fantastic. She's an amazing bowler as well. And so having those two have been really the keys of my career over the years.
Okay, there you go. Wanda Parker asks, does your university provide you with a scholarship budget to be competitive with bigger schools, or does money affect your recruiting?
How do I answer that? No, it's okay. No, we have scholarship opportunities for the men and the women. We are one of the few universities where I have a scholarship budget where I'm able to provide scholarships to both teams. And so it certainly helps bringing recruits in. What I think for me gets them here is the opportunities to work with me. And I'm teaching them how to drill bowling balls. I'm talking to them about layouts, working with them on their mental game. And so I think all of those pieces of who I am as a bowler, I'm giving them to them. And that's what really I think brings a lot of them to us here at Upper Iowa. Okay.
Because like I said, when you hear Upper Iowa, you're like, who's going to go there?
I said the same thing. And then when I got out here and realized how Fayette is a town of about 1,000 people. It's really small. I grew up near, yes. I grew up near Chicago suburb. And so I'm used to big city life, going to downtown, and all those other things. And when I got out here to Fayette, the first thing I noticed was how small this little area is. the minute I got on campus, it felt like home. The administration is fantastic here. They are supportive 100%. If there's something I need, they'll work with me on it. One of the key things for our programs, which again is unheard of in a first-year program, is I was able to buy a drill press and drill the kids' equipment on campus.
Oh, wow.
So most programs starting up, they're not going to have the money or the funds to be able to go and buy a new drill press. Right. And so my university, with my athletic director, my sport administrator, we all work together to figure out how much it would cost to get a drill press on campus, because the cost of drilling a bowling ball, especially here where we're at, the closest pro shop I would take my team's equipment to is an hour away. So drive time to get their stuff drilled. Right. Drive time, finger inserts, thumb slugs, whatever, getting them there to test their stuff. When I put the numbers together, I said, look, you're going to save yourself a ton of money we can utilize in something else, like going to a tournament in Houston, Texas, versus let's put all of our money, our funds into drilling bowling balls somewhere in Waterloo or somewhere in Dubuque. Let me do it. And I got a drill press. And so, yeah, I mean, it's one of those rare things where if you sit down with your AD and you talk to them about it, they'll give it to you.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was huge for you.
Absolutely. It's saved us a lot of time and a lot of money, and I'm able to use money we fundraise for other things. So it's a win-win for us at Upper Iowa.
There you go. Hey, before signing with DV8, were you with any other ball company?
No, I was not. No. I did throw Storm for a long time before I saw DV8. I know Brian Graham very well. We go way back when I used to work at USBC, and when I found out he was creating DV8, I was like, wow, this is really cool, and the motto is amazing. And it was in a time period in my life where I was taking a step away from the sport, and I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to stay in it or not. Right. And when I got more into it again, DV8 popped up on my radar, and I saw some friends throw the Diva, and I fell in love with the ball reaction. And Robert Lawrence, who used to be my product specialist down in Texas, gave me a shot, and I've been with them ever since.
Wow.
Yeah. DV8 has been good to me. All of our brands have been great to me. I'm excited to see what our future holds.
There you go. What company is your school sponsored by, or they just throw everything?
No. So, of course, me being on DV8, one of the things I wanted to do was make sure my teams threw my brands. And so both of my teams throw the Brunswick brands. On the women's side, with rev rate and ball speed, we're typically sticking with Brunswick and DV8. We're going to look into throwing some Hammer stuff and some Columbia stuff. And then on the men, we're going to throw all 7 brands. And so I'm really excited about having the EBI brands with us. I back in the day when Ebonite was really big, when I was a junior bowler, I remember the Nitro, right? It was a Nitro?
Yep.
So, the Nitro. Yeah. Yeah, so we're gonna continue the sponsorship deal with them for our brands, for our bowling balls.
Oh, that's cool, and I'm sure that, and see, in just my opinion, with coaching, other sports, having a brand that kids can come to and they're like, oh, we're sponsored with this, that helps recruiting.
Absolutely, it's one of the biggest sticking points for a lot of players who are looking to bowl collegiately, because with different sponsorship deals, it also comes with, well, how many bowling balls are you going to get? That's like the biggest question, right? Youth bowling, how many bowling balls you're going to get?
Yes.
And so being able to say, I have the ability to help you with the cost of bowling balls makes it a little easier for these college players to swallow. What bowling ball am I getting today, Coach? Hold on a second. Let's take a step back.
And see, and that, like I said, it's all about the brand. Oh, what bowling ball am I getting? It's just like if you were with basketball. Oh, what kind of shoes are we getting?
Exactly. Yeah. And I've had several recruits over the last couple of years. I've gotten to come to UIU, either they've thrown Storm or Motive or even Global. And yes, I know you love your brand. Let me get you into this, and we'll do. I'll find the same ball motion for you. It's a matter of me knowing your bowler specs and go from there. And I have gotten a couple of them converted now to the brand. So and I tell them, I say, if you continue on this path and you really want to do this, maybe in a couple of years you could be on staff with me. You don't know, right? You gotta wait and see.
Yeah. How many have you? Well, like I said, you're just now starting college, but or doing your collegiate coaching. But do you believe you've touched some kids to where they were like, man, I want to come back and I want to help give back and coach?
Yes, in fact, even through my touring time, when I'm out on the road and we're doing the pro-ams and I get paired up with college bowlers, I do talk about the opportunities for them to come back and be a collegiate coach or work for a bowling ball manufacturer or even work for like EFX or Logo Infusion. And yeah, absolutely. I've seen a couple of them where I know, yeah, you could be a college coach, and yeah, we need to talk about this. And hey, let's talk about maybe running a pro shop one day or something to that effect.
Okay, there you go. Tabitha says, any hobbies outside of bowling right now?
Golf right now because it's nice outside. I like to quilt in my free time, and I love outdoor stuff when I have the time.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Well, look, anything. Well, you know what? Not anything. Tell us something. Tell us, our viewers, because I always ask, tell us something we don't know about Nichole. Nothing. Come on. You gotta spill the guts.
I am an open book out on tour. People I have a vibrant personality out on the road. I'm usually the one going up and saying hello to everybody. I talk to too many people sometimes. One thing they don't know about me. Well, that's a good one. Well, if people don't follow me on Instagram, although I don't know, that's a good question. I don't know.
Sometimes you think, and then all of a sudden when we get off the call, you're gonna be like, I bet you they don't know this.
Well, if we're gonna talk about, I guess bowling. So a little factoid about me: I've lived in Illinois. Well, I grew up in Illinois. Moved to Wisconsin, moved to Florida, moved to Texas, moved back to Illinois, and then moved here to Iowa. Okay. Wow. I have a city title in Milwaukee. I have a city title in Orlando, Florida. I have a city title in Houston, Texas. I have a city title in the Chicagoland area as well. So I guess most people don't realize I have city titles everywhere. I think I just need to travel to every state and win a city title somehow or another.
There you go. You need to get on that horse, get in your car, and just go ahead and start making moves.
I had plans. I think I don't know how many miles I'd figured out. At least on the West Coast swing, I was going to drive at least 8,000 miles for the West Coast. Yeah. I was ready. My car was getting packed. I had my equipment all ready to go, and not happening right now.
No. Look, another question I just thought of: how do you manage with bowling on tour and coaching collegiate bowling?
What is nice is our women's tour schedule is during the off season for collegiate bowling, so I don't have to worry too much about it clashing. The only time I would potentially have an issue is if August, September time period with the schedule. We do have 2 majors in August and September, and how it would fit into when the kids got to campus and if I had practices. Right. Other than that, our postseason championships is usually a week before tour season starts. And so once that's done, then I'm on the road.
There you go. It makes it easy for you.
Yep. And then I'm packing up, getting out there bowling on my own time.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, Nichole, look, I appreciate you sharing your story, because like I say it all the time. We all have a story, and how we came down this path in the bowling alley and met each other, it's kind of amazing. So I appreciate you coming on.
I think we've met in person. I'd have to go back in my memory banks. I don't know.
The St. Louis, maybe? No.
I do from time to time go down to St. Louis and bowl tournaments.
Well, the only time I go to St. Louis is for the holiday doubles.
Oh, no, you know what? I had planned to go over the last year, and either I didn't get my entry in time or it got filled up too fast. And then
It does fill up fast.
Yeah, and then my men's team ended up, or no, I had a recruiting event the same weekend, so I couldn't go. Maybe this year. Maybe I can fit it into my schedule. Are you bowling Lucy? Are you gonna bowl Lucy doubles?
I need a partner for Lucy doubles. Yes, I'm looking forward. Like at first I was supposed to bowl, and then some things happened, and now I'm kind of like ready to go again. And so, but yeah, I know they fill up fast.
Ladies, you got a partner right here. There's a lot of ladies looking for partners right here. Yeah. Bring him to Houston so he can experience Lucy. It's a great event. It's so much fun.
I trust and believe if I don't bowl this year, I will be there next year for sure.
Absolutely. You want to talk about fun? Lucy weekend is probably one of the most fun tournaments I have ever bowled in my 40 plus years of being a competitive bowler.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And like I said, I watch it, stream it or what have you, and I'm looking forward to it because no, I'm not the best bowler, but I can kind of hold my own, So I do look forward to getting out there and bowling against, competing against the best.
Cool. Well, come on, let's get you out here.
Yeah, I agree. So, like I said, if not this year, most definitely next year.
Okay, cool. Very cool.
Look, Wanda Parker even said Lucy weekend is the best.
Yes, it is. It is. Oh my gosh. You got to get to Houston early for it, and you can't leave until it's done.
That sounds like my type of party.
Absolutely. When you get to see all it's a who's who of professional bowlers. It is so much fun, and the charity event and the pro-am and meeting all the people. It's awesome. It's a great weekend.
Hey, there you go. Well, look, Nichole, thank you for sharing your story. And sure. Like I said, I look forward to seeing you out on tour. Like I said, I do go to a couple women events, and if you are on the West Coast, hit me up, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's
hope, now you're part of the Bowtie friends.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I hope we get out there soon. Let's hope we get a tour. It'd be awesome to get out to the West Coast this season. If not this season, definitely next season.
You're absolutely right. All righty, Nichole. Well, look, enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
And I will talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Everyone enjoy, stay safe, and let's hope we get out on the lane soon.
Well, you guys are getting out there real soon because
yes, in Iowa,
people are stuck.
Yeah, we are starting to slowly reopen here in Iowa, so I'm hoping in the next week or two I'll be able to get back on the lanes and start throwing bowling balls.
No. Oh, tell us what your governor said.
Our governor is letting us know tomorrow if the rest of the state's going to start to slowly reopen. Most of it has started already. The section where I live in Fayette County, we're really close to Waterloo and Dubuque, and so our area is still under restrictions. But some of the western and southern parts of the state of Iowa are starting to reopen, and so yeah, people are talking about going to bowling centers, and I'm exceptionally jealous right now.
See, there you go.
Yeah. So as long as everyone stays safe and healthy and pays attention to what we're doing, we'll get back on the lane soon, I hope.
There you go.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, look, and like I said, enjoy your evening. Keep the family safe. You stay safe, and I will talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, everyone. It was good to hear from you.
All right, Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, that was Nichole DePaul. She, like I said, she coaches the men and women's bowling team at Upper Iowa University. If you guys don't know her, like I said, go ahead and listen to her story. Like I said, we all have a different story, and we all came down this road a different way. So, that's the good part about this show that I'm doing, and I learn something new every time I have somebody on. So I have a Zoom call at 6 o'clock, a town hall meeting about the shooting that went on. So that's going to be very interesting. If you guys want to even just join in and just listen to it, It'll be great. So just DM me and I send you the information. Ron Sims is going to come on and say some words about it. So Big Ron, I don't know if you're listening, but I appreciate you, dude. Like really from the bottom of my heart. You have no idea what that means to me and the rest of the people that's joining the call. So guys, happy Tuesday. You guys be safe. Take care. Love you guys. Bowtie out.